Hello friends, it's me, Shin, and today I'm coming to you from the Mandalay Bay where I'm checking out the Border Grill for dinner. Super happy to have you along. I'll see you inside. Alrighty, and here we are seated at the Border Grill, a very lively and popular restaurant here. We have half booth seatings as well as high tops, a full bar, and an outdoor patio that's actually very inviting. There's a lot of people dining here, a very friendly and fun vibe. Now, regardless of the vibes, you know it's all about the food for me, so let's take a look at what they have to eat on the menu. So here is your menu at the Border Grill. We're starting with the beverages. Feel free to take a pause in the video if you'd like to take a closer look at these drinks, but you have your bottled beers up top, your list of margaritas here. Let me make sure I can get you out of the glare. And then your cocktails over here. And then your list of wines as well as some refreshers down here. Those are your drinks. Let's flip it over and look at the food. Looks like they are specializing in sustainability. That's very nice. Let's see what they have to eat. Here are your shared starters. You've got guacamole, tortilla soup, ooh, plantain empanadas, Argentinian empanadas. These all sound really good. We have some ceviche as well. Ooh, an aguachile sounds really good here. Here's a Tijuana Caesar salad for you. And then your list of tacos. Looks like a prime rib taco al pastor, a crispy Diablo cauliflower taco. That sounds interesting. Coming back up top, we have enchiladas. Oh, we can do an enchilada trio for $32. But otherwise, looks like we have some chicken poblano, seafood, short ribs. Yeah, that was great. And that brings us to the entrees. You've got a skirt steak, a ribeye here. Looks like some pork as well as a molcajete, a jamon serrano pollo relleno. That sounds really good. And a portobello mushroom bolitas. This is all looking great. We have some sides here as well. Caramelized plantains, black beans. This is looking fantastic. And here's your menu at the Border Grill. Now I'm really excited. That's a lot of great options I'm looking forward to trying today because you know how it goes in my videos. Every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay. So I'm gonna get a nice variety and together we'll see what the Border Grill is all about. Appetizers are coming up first. I'll see you in a little bit when they arrive. And welcome back everyone. My appetizer just got here. This is looking really good. Let me give you a view. I got their guacamole and tortilla soup, their plantain and their Argentinian empanadas, as well as an order of their aguachile. I am loving what I'm seeing here. Let's give it a try. First up, chicken tortilla soup. A nice reddish orange hue to this with bright avocados. The tortilla soup. Yes, that's good. A very nice and thick soup here. Incredibly viscous. A satisfying texture to this is very good. Nice big chunks of chicken in here are very tender. And you actually get some very nice hints of citrus on that chicken. A good flavor there. A nice cooling from the avocado. And a fun little crispy texture coming from the tortilla strips. Now personally, I happen to find this tortilla soup a bit on the sweet side. Myself personally, I think I'd rather have a bit of a spicy and savory tortilla soup. There's a lot of similarities to a tomato bisque in terms of sweetness here. But it is well seasoned and in general has a good taste. A fine chicken tortilla soup there. Next up, the Argentinian empanada. Now they have two different types of empanadas here, the plantain and the Argentinian. Even the Argentinian is using impossible meat. And so I believe the majority of this is vegetarian. And I'm looking forward to some good flavors. Let's see how it is. Oh, that is very good. There's a lot of great flavors going on in this empanada. I love the puff pastry skin. It's buttery and flaky with a nice crisp to it, imparting a little bit of a rich flavor. It's a perfect start. I gotta tell you, Impossible Meat has come a very long way from what I recall as meat substitutes. It does have a much more meaty and satisfying texture, and it's been very well seasoned. There's a smoky and savory flavor to this. Ample amounts of chili powder, cumin, garlic, lots of really great flavors are coming to light here. And then you have a very bright and refreshing chimichurri, rounding out the bite, giving a lot of additional flavor. This one is really good. I like it a lot. Next up, these are the plantain empanadas. Not the same puff pastry that we saw with the Argentinian empanada. I'm very intrigued to try this one. Let's give it a shot. Okay, this one is really good. Now, while the Argentinian empanada had the puff pastry skin, the plantain itself is the pastry skin here. It's not what I was expecting, but it's so good. They fried it to where it has a nice crisp. You could think of it as a bit of a moist banana chip. There's such a fun texture to the exterior of this, I love it. You absolutely get the natural sweetness of the plantains here. There may even be a little bit of additional sugar, creating a candied layer on the outside. It's very good. The black bean and cheese mixture inside is really flavorful. A nice earthiness from the black beans, cooked in a lot of spices, providing a little bit of an additional heat element. And then you have a really smoky chipotle salsa on the outside, providing a nice heat level, a good amount of spice here, helping balance out the sweetness of the plantain. It's wonderfully complex and very well balanced. I really like this appetizer. Next up, we're doing chips and guacamole. I'd say this is a pretty staple recipe you have to be able to nail if you're a good Mexican restaurant. Got a nice amount on the chip here. Let's see how the Border Grill's guacamole stacks up. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Let's start the conversation by talking about these chips, because they're fantastic. Very obviously fried in-house. Nice corn flavor, a nice fresh fry job to these provides such an airy crispness that you don't typically get when it comes to a bagged tortilla chip. It's very good. Now the guacamole certainly is fine. A nice rich creamy avocado flavor. With a nice amount of brightness, they've added a fair amount of lime juice here. It's a well-seasoned guacamole, although I do think it could use a little bit of additional garlic. I think that might be the one element that's missing for me. A nice heat level though, very approachable, not too spicy. A perfectly fine guacamole, that's good. All right, everyone, and the last item to try from this appetizer round is going to be the aguachile. A bit of a unique twist on the aguachile here, providing these plantain chips. And I've scooped some onto the chip here. The aguachile. Oh yes, that's good. I love these plantain chips. Super crispy with a bit of a nuttier flavor than a sweet one. The perfect vessel for this aguachile. The shrimp in the aguachile was really fantastic. Succulent, a wonderful texture, a nice bouncy chew to it. It was great. Such a refreshing flavor, this aguachile. A bit spicy with a nice sour tang, well seasoned with a bright acidic aftertaste. This is a very nice aguachile. I like this one. All right, everyone, that's all of the appetizers I'm trying today. Just a few more bites on the box, it's all up to go, and then we'll go in our first round of entrees. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. My first round of entrees just got here. This is looking really good. Let me give you a view. I got all of their tacos, the smoked prime rib, the al pastor, the vampiro shrimp, as well as the cauliflower. And then I also got the trio of enchiladas, the chicken, the seafood, and the short rib. This is all looking really good. Let's give it a try. We'll kick things off with the enchiladas. And so as mentioned, I got the trio of enchiladas here. I have the steak, the chicken, and the seafood, and I'm starting with the seafood. A nice orange sauce to this. Let's give it a try. Oh yeah, that's tasty. A lot of very nice elements to this enchilada. Starting off with the corn tortilla. A nice pliable texture to that. And you certainly get the corn flavor coming through. Both the chips as well as the tortillas here are fantastic at the Border Grill. You have a very nice seafood medley inside. You absolutely get the briny sweetness of lobster, as well as some crab and shrimp in here. And the orange cream sauce on the exterior actually tastes very much like a lobster bisque. A nice briny flavor to it, very creamy and rich. It's such a tasty sauce for these enchiladas. You have a bit of a slaw on top. There's a tangy flavor to it, as well as a peppery kick. A nice accent flavor to these enchiladas. Yeah, that's actually very tasty. I like those enchiladas a lot. Next up, the chicken enchiladas. Now these are covered in some kind of a green sauce, and you can see some strips of poblano peppers on top. The chicken enchilada. Yeah, not bad. Now I really do like the corn tortillas here at Border Grill. A nice texture, great flavor, just a solid corn tortilla here. I actually really like the poblano peppers as well as the sauce. I believe even the sauce has some poblano peppers in it. It has a bit of a smoky, spicy flavor. There's a little bit of a nutty sweetness you get from the roasted corn here, and a nice earthiness from the mushrooms. All of that is great. I think where I find issue with this particular dish is that the chicken is just okay. It's relatively tender, not too dry, but I think the flavors of the chicken are lost quite heavily in this dish. I don't think I tasted chicken the entire bite. It's odd because I definitely had the textures of chicken in the chew, but no flavor was coming through. That's not to say any of the flavors were bad. I just wanted the chicken to show up a little bit more on this one. Alrighty, and the last enchilada to try today is going to be the short rib enchilada. Now this is looking a lot more like a traditional enchilada I would expect. A nice, vibrant looking red sauce. Let's give it a shot. Oh yes, that's very good. Again, wonderful tortilla here. I don't really need to go into detail about that. But what I do need to talk to you about is this short rib. Ultra tender, really juicy, well seasoned. It has a nice savory flavor and a nice meatiness to it. This is so satisfying and fun to eat. The enchilada sauce here is my favorite, hands down. A savory spice here with a bit of a pungent quality. You can actually feel a little bit of a burn in the back of your throat and nasal cavities as you're enjoying the bite. That tangy and peppery salad that was on top of the seafood enchilada is also present here, providing a very nice accent flavor. A very good enchilada. I like that one a lot. Next up, we're going in on the tacos. Now they have 4 different tacos here at the Border Grill, and I was able to get all 4 a la carte. If you were to order these as the meal though, all of these tacos come with 3 in an order, except for the Vampiro shrimp tacos, which come with 2. And seeing as how the Vampiro shrimp is the outlier, I think we'll start there first. Let's see how this is. Oh, that's very tasty. Now I believe this is the same tortilla that they use for the enchiladas, and so I have very similar praise. A nice pliable texture to this, good corn flavor, holding the taco together, no cracking. It's very good. The shrimp here is so flavorful, plump and succulent with a fabulous bouncy texture. This is a very well-cooked shrimp. A slightly tangy spice blend is what they went with on the shrimp, and it's working very well in the recipe. Though when I'm looking through this, it's 3 shrimp in the entire taco. I think I would personally like a few more. They have a layer of melted cheese inside of this tortilla that's providing a lot of richness and salinity, as well as a slightly nutty flavor as it is a fried cheese. A very tasty ingredient in this taco. This is a very similar slaw to what we saw on top of the enchiladas. However, there's a lot more cilantro in here, as well as some pickled onions. It has a much more bright flavor. A fair amount of lime juice has been added here as well, providing some acidity to the taco. Always works well with seafood. Not a bad one at all. Some good flavors here. Next taco we're going to go in on is the al pastor. Now I love al pastor tacos. Pork and pineapple work well for me. And you have a very fresh looking salsa on the top. The al pastor taco. Yeah, not bad. Now this is definitely a different tortilla than I saw before with either the shrimp taco or the enchiladas. A slightly grainier texture, and I want to say there's a bit of a sweet element to it. Very interesting. I really do like the slaw here. Very refreshing. A little bit spicy and tangy, but a nice addition of pineapple actually brings a lot of acidic sweetness. I think the pork is just okay today. It's a bit tough, not exactly the most succulent pork I've ever had, and it's a bit of a shame because it is well seasoned and has good flavor. But I must admit, the tougher pork is quite the drawback for me here. Some nice flavors here, but I want some succulent pork to really push this one over the top. Next up, this is the cauliflower taco. A very interesting tortilla here. I gotta admit, it's kind of falling apart in my hand, so I'm not really enjoying the feel. But at the end of the day, I really just want it to taste good. The cauliflower taco. That's actually very tasty. Now, as mentioned before, I'm not the biggest fan of the texture of this particular tortilla. It's a bit thin for the weight of this taco, making the bite a little bit unwieldy. That said, there is a nice corn flavor coming through, with a little bit of spice on it as well, which is making me think that tricoloring might have just been a gimmick. I love the cauliflower in this dish. This might be some of the most perfectly lightly fried cauliflower I've ever had. The most airy crisp on that batter, light as a cloud, really crunchy, ultimately leading to a well-cooked and soft cauliflower on the inside, which has been seasoned well and has a good flavor. I really like that. You have a little bit of a nutty sweetness coming through from the roasted corn here, and a bit of a tangy flavor coming from the pickled onions. Now you really need that tangy flavor because there is a fair amount of heat and spice on this taco. The salsa included here certainly has a bit of kick. Some really nice flavors on that taco. Iffy on the texture of that tortilla though. Overall, it's quite fine. All right, everyone, and the last taco to try today is going to be the prime rib taco. I think I was calling this the short rib taco the whole time, but I think it's a prime rib taco, and you can see some fried garlic as well as some fried peppers in here. The prime rib taco. I'd say that's just okay. Now, this is the most classic tasting corn tortilla I've had here. Nice pliable texture, good corn flavor. In general, the tortillas here at Border Grill are very solid. There's some kind of a cheesy grit layer here, and that's actually not too bad. Not super creamy, a bit of a grainier texture, but it does have a nice deep cheese flavor. That's pretty good. You do get a nice floral note from that fried garlic, and maybe just a hint of heat from those fried peppers. I was expecting a lot more spice there. Now, while all of those flavors were really great, unfortunately they were mostly subdued by the incredibly smoky flavor of this prime rib. Now, the meat was relatively tender, but unfortunately the flavor left a lot to be desired for me. It was so smoky, you really didn't get to taste much else. It kind of felt like I was just chewing the bark on the outside of a barbecued brisket. Unfortunately, the flavors are far too imbalanced for me to really enjoy this all that much. It's a bit of a shame. I had such high hopes after that short rib enchilada. I thought the beef taco was going to be really good. I'd say this is probably my least favorite of the tacos today. All right, everyone. Now that's everything from this first round of entrees. A couple more bites. I'm going to box this all up to go, and then we'll do our second round. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. My second round of entrees just got here. This is looking good. Let me give you a view. I got the cascabel ribeye as well as the Yucatan pork, and an order of their jamon serrano pollo relleno. This is looking really good. Let's give it all a try. First off, we'll do the ribeye. Now, I asked for this to be prepared medium rare, and it looks like they hit the temperature. Let's see how the ribeye steak is. Yeah, that's pretty good. A nice cook to the steak. They absolutely nailed that medium rare. A juicy steak as well. They certainly didn't dry this out. A nice job on the cook. Now, the steak does have a nice beefy flavor. Unfortunately, I do think it could use a bit of additional seasoning. While there's a rich butter that's been applied on the top, the crust especially lacks just a little extra oomph that I'm looking for. The demi-glaze sauce here is actually quite good. A little bit more earthy in flavor than your standard demi-glaze. That actually is quite good. Just a little bit of additional seasoning on that steak with a bit more of a crust, and I think this could be really good. Next up, we'll try the side that came with that ribeye. I'm actually not sure what this is. We'll just give it a taste. That's actually very tasty. You're effectively looking at something like a potato and chorizo dish here. Slightly crispy, shallow fried potatoes provide a little bit of a texture crunch as well as a nice starchy flavor, which is complemented so well by the smoky, savory nature of this chorizo. A little bit crumbly in texture with a lot of very robust smoky flavors. The chorizo here is quite good. It's topped with some deep fried jalapeno strips. I wouldn't say there's actually a lot of heat to that, mostly just there for texture, and a little layer of cheese providing richness. It's all very good. That's a very tasty side right there. I like that a lot. Alrighty, next up is the jamon serrano pollo relleno. This basically looks like a stuffed chicken. Nice aroma to this. The pollo relleno. Yeah, not bad. Now, this chicken is wrapped with ham. Unfortunately, you don't actually get too much of its flavors. Maybe a little bit of additional salinity, but it's not all that present. The stuffing in the chicken is actually quite flavorful. Something like chorizo, onions, and peppers. A little bit sweet, savory, smoky, and spicy. A nice balance and blend of flavors in that stuffing. Unfortunately, the biggest issue is that the chicken is quite dry. While you do get some moisture from the center of that stuffing, unfortunately, the chicken on its own is devoid of a lot of moisture. It definitely leaves something to be desired during the bite. The chicken is seasoned well, though. It does have a nice flavor, but in some ways I think I actually appreciate a juicier, blander chicken than a well-seasoned dry one. And so at the end of the day, while there are some nice flavors here, unfortunately I'm not a huge fan of the execution today. Next up, we'll try the side that came with the pollo relleno. These are the Brussels sprouts. Looks like it's been cooked down with a lot of additional vegetables. Nice little melody here. Let's see how it is. Yeah, it's pretty good. A well-cooked Brussels sprout side, a nice soft texture to that, and they've cooked out a lot of the bitterness, leaving you with an enjoyable Brussels sprout flavor. The caramelized peppers and onions provide a nice natural sweetness here, and there's a little bit of a tangy flavor to this dish. In general, it's a well-balanced side. A nice side of sprouts there, that's just fine. All right, everyone, now the last dish I'm trying for my dinner tonight here at the Border Grill is gonna be the Yucatan pork. This is a nice big bowl served with pork, rice, beans, and other goodies. I've got a nice mix on the fork here. This is the Yucatan pork. That is very tasty. Now this is a well-balanced bite, a lot going on here.
A perfect seasoned rice, a nice bouncy texture to it with a little bit of a savory and tangy flavor. A very good seasoned rice to start. Beautiful earthiness coming from the black beans, and a nice sharp tang coming from those pickled onions. A nice cooling guacamole here. I actually really appreciate the amount of lime they put into their guacamole here at the Border Grill because it's making the bite here much more refreshing. Now let's talk about this pork. It's so good. It's spectacularly juicy, very tender, and so deliciously seasoned. A little bit smoky and savory, but there's a woodsy cinnamon that makes itself known in the middle of the bite. A really nice punch of flavors that changes the entire dimension of the dish. Eventually it does give way to the much more Latin flavors that you're expecting here, but I really do like the depth and complexity of this dish. A very nice pork there. I like this one a lot. All right, everyone, now that's all of the dishes I'm trying today. I am so full. I think I'm just gonna take a couple more bites, box this all up to go, and then we'll do a little bit of dessert next. Don't go anywhere because sweets are coming up. Welcome back, everyone. Now I'm really full, but I was able to box that all up to go. Now it's time for some sweets. Let's take a look at the dessert menu. So here are your desserts at Border Grill. Got the tres leches, the coconut flan, flourless cake, churro ice cream sandwich. That sounds incredible. This is all looking really good. A nice little dessert menu here at the Border Grill. I'm gonna get my order in, but for all of you at home, I'm gonna make that appear right now. And here it is, everyone, the churro ice cream sandwich. This looks absolutely incredible. Basically 2 churro donuts with some ice cream between. You have an assortment of berries along with some kind of coulis. And I've got a nice assortment of all the ingredients on my spoon here. So excited for this one. Oh, that is delicious. I legitimately love everything about this dessert. Let's start with the churro. They've achieved such an incredible dichotomy of textures with this churro. A very light, crispy exterior with the most airy center. It's so satisfying. Covered in a nice amount of cinnamon sugar, providing some great sweet flavors here. This is a wonderful churro to start. You have a salted caramel ice cream here, and it's working so well with this churro. A little bit nutty, very sweet. This really feels like a fantastic match. A nice, refreshing, and natural sweetness coming from the berries here, which is a nice respite when it comes to the rich nature of this dessert. All of this goes together very well. I am a huge fan of this churro ice cream sandwich. It's really good. All right, everyone, now that's gonna do it for my dinner here at the Border Grill of the Mandalay Bay. All of the food you saw in the video today came out to $266 before tip, and I definitely had a good time. I thought the plantain empanadas were so flavorful. When I was first ordering, I did not expect that dish to be my favorite of the appetizers. The short rib enchilada was my favorite of the 3 that I tried today. And of the 4 tacos I tried today, I thought the shrimp had the best flavors. Favorite entree of the night has to be the Yucatan pork. A wonderful bowl of Latin flavors, all coming together very well. Nice dish there. And I'm sure you were able to tell when I tried it, I loved the churro ice cream sandwich. I very, very much enjoyed that dessert. And so if you're staying here at the Mandalay Bay and you're looking for some Latin cuisine, this is what you can expect here at the Border Grill. All right, everyone, now that's gonna do it for this Saturday video where I continue my quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. Coming this Tuesday, I'm gonna be returning to a much more local spot here in the Valley. Make sure you come back for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend. I hope you enjoy Vegas with me, Shin. Bye.